I changed my setting again. I'm now using my phone, which might have also awful camera. I don't know, that's why I'm testing it out. Hi. I know I'm wearing the same hoodie as yesterday, but I like it. Hello there everybody, my name's Queen Fangirl and today I am back with an actual video this time, as opposed to a minute worth of pointlessness. You might be able to see, I'll just lean this way, is a certain poster which is a clue to today's video, if the title wasn't clue enough. So basically, today I'm going to be talking about Sherlock because the new series ended 2 days ago. I cry every time. And I just want to first start off by saying, is there going to be another series or not? Because people have told me there's going to be another series, but it seemed quite final the way they kind of wrapped it up at the end. I guess we'll see. I really hope they do another one. I want to see Rosie growing up. I want to see the moment where someone mistakes John and Sherlock for her gay parents. I want to see this. I want to see it. And I also, okay. I shipped Sherlock for a while, and then I didn't ship it. I went through a phase of shipping Sherlokc, and now I'm back to shipping Sherlock again. I think 90% of the fandom is from all of the a little bit angry comments on Tumblr. There's been lots of accusations of queerbaiting and stuff, which I'm not really going to get into because I don't know, not my place to really say, I guess. Also, I don't want to start arguments. That wouldn't be good. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the whole series, but the thing is, the Six Thatchers was so long ago that I can barely even remember what happens. I kind of had to look up the name. You're a fake fan! No, I'm not shush. So I guess I should kind of start at the beginning. I guess it would be logical to start with the guy in the car who died. I don't really have much to say about that. Like, I thought it was kind of tied into the plot, but then it wasn't. So it kind of a bit like, okay then. It kind of felt a bit like it was something for Sherlock to do, just to kind of ease him into the plot. I wasn't expecting him to have died of a stroke, I will say, but I kind of, when he did the video call thing, I was kind of like, that doesn't look real. He could just be faking it. But then I thought like someone had murdered him and then had recorded that message previously or something. It would have been more fun if he was murdered. But it was incredibly lucky that in that house, the Margaret Thatcher bust was pushed over. It was incredibly lucky that Sherlock went to that house. That house had had both a murder and breaking and entering in which this statue thing was destroyed. I mean, if he hadn't, then none of the rest of the plot would have happened. We would never have found out about the Agra stuff. Mary would never have died. Everything else that followed would have changed. But it was lucky that he did. It was cool. It was lucky. It was all a bit confusing for a while what was kind of happening with the Agra stuff. The ammo bit was cool. I liked that. And then when it turned out that it had been that receptionist, it's kind of, I feel like that's a trope. The shy, unsuspecting person who isn't really there, but is just kind of in the background. I feel like that person being the villain is kind of, not cliche, but it's a trope. Example, Assistant Mayor Bellwether. I'm just saying. Why was that the first example that came to my head? I'm Disney trash. It's official. I wasn't expecting her to actually go ahead and shoot someone though. I mean, what did she have to gain from it? Yeah, what did she actually have to gain from it? I guess she wanted to keep her cover, but then surely she'd need to kill all of them? Was she going to kill all of them? She just started with Sherlock? Because even if she had killed Sherlock and like there was no one to explain the reasoning and stuff, I think both John and Mary would be able to kind of tell, Mycroft for example, what had happened, and Sherlock's dead body would have kind of also added to that theory. But then Mary went and jumped dead in front of the bullet, which I wasn't expecting either. Yeah, I did cry at that part. I started crying, and then John started making like all these sounds like a moose, and I'm like, think about was moose. Me? No, okay, what's the plural of moose? What is the plural of moose? Meese? I want to say meese, but I don't want to say that. Okay, all I could think about were the plural of moose. So I was laughing when I should have been crying. Just one last thing I want to add about that episode was the tone was kind of different for me with the whole thing about like the story Sherlock was telling about the merchant or whatever who goes to some other place and there's death and that whole story thing. That didn't seem to fit in with what I would normally expect from a Sherlock episode. That seemed to be a lot more conceptual than I'm used to, can I say that? It seemed to be a lot more, just kind of, it wasn't actual things happening, it was just like, ooh, look at me, got some fancy stories and some fancy aquarium backgrounds. And I think this whole series did have a very different feel to it than the other series did. It was a lot darker in a way and a lot more kind of dangerous and emotional, especially the last episode. I mean, there were moments of humour, but it's definitely evolved as a show, and I'm still making up my mind if I like that or not. Okay, on to the Lying Detective. This one gave me lots of emotions. Let's start off with the, frankly, insanely good cinematography of all the drug scenes and stuff. I absolutely loved that. Just the way it was filmed, like all the special effects, all the camera angles, was beautiful. Before that I knew that it was just Sherlock doing Sherlocky things, trying to make himself die so John could save him, blah 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 blah. It did genuinely seem like, without John and without Mary, but without John, Sherlock was, his life was falling apart, and I mean, I am all for angsty John Locke. Not gonna lie. Angsty John Locke is top quality. I'm so sorry. Shall I just redo that? Oh, who cares? I feel like I've explained this point badly, but yeah. I just liked the idea, the concept that Sherlock did rely on John as much as John relies on Sherlock. And to be honest, I still kind of do think that. I think one of the things that really got me about this episode was John and the fact that Mary was there. Like, for a while, when she first showed up, I thought she was still alive, and I was excited for a bit, but then she was still dead, and he had a coping mechanism, and it was really sad. And that hug at the end with him and Sherlock was just, too many emotions, my poor, poor heart. Okay, that brings us up to the final problem. The first thing about this episode was I wasn't expecting jump scares and horror and spooky general atmosphere. I'm not the kind of person who will scream at every little thing in a horror movie, but I'm not the kind of person who can just watch them without being affected. So when that was happening, and there were clowns and little girls and stuff everywhere, I was kind of not happy. I mean, in hindsight, I loved it, but at the time, I was spooked. And then it turned out to be Sherlock just pranking. So, you know, what can you say, really? Quite a few people, it seems, don't like the episode for many reasons, but I did. I think it was very different to the Sherlock we're used to. And I'm not sure if I like that difference or not, but my head is saying yes. Because this episode especially was really, really focused on the psychological side of things. And I really liked that. I really liked that, like, Sherlock's reaction to all of the trials that he went through, and Mycroft. We learned so much about Mycroft's character. The moment when he was trying to goad Sherlock into shooting him, it was like, my heart. Also, the childhood flashbacks were literally amazing because, I mean, childhood Sherlock, the best thing. Something that we did learn about Mycroft, though, is the fact that he is incredibly stupid. Why, if you had this woman who was so smart that she could predict terrorist attacks from 5 minutes on Twitter, why would you let her have access to one of the world's most dangerous criminals? That was an incredibly stupid move, and also I liked Eurus's character. I liked her, I guess, but I feel like I needed more hints before to her existence. It kind of like, if there were hints to her existence in Series 2, Series 3, I would have been able to deal with it, but it kind of seems a bit like she was almost invented just Series 4 and she didn't have any impact on anything until then. Yeah, I believe the term is retconning. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it does seem a lot like she was just invented for the sake of adding another villain now that Culverton Smith is gone. The thing is, with the villains in this series, they were kind of only introduced for one episode. Like, the secretary lady, she was the first episode, Culverton Smith was the second episode, and Eurus was the third episode. They kind of only lasted an episode at a time. Which, I mean, I didn't like Magnuson, but at least he lasted more than one episode. And I loved Moriarty, and he lasted more than one episode. So I don't think there wasn't enough time to build on the villain's motives and the villain's character enough, I don't think, to get us to really like the villain. And it didn't really seem like they were big enough on the plot, to be fair. So if you know me in real life, you might have seen my Snapchat story. For those of you who haven't, it basically said that I had bite marks on my hand from where I was biting myself, trying to stop myself from screaming. True. And that I was also physically screaming aloud. Also true. The thing that I think I screamed the most at, I think would be fairly easy to guess, considering how much I've talked about how I love him. Maury Blooming Artie. The Sherlock producers are so cruel. Can you imagine being the writer who thought that one up? Who thought, you know what? This villain that they all love, we're gonna bring him back so people think he's still alive. Then we're gonna flash some text across the screen that's like, no, he's not alive. This was 5 years ago. Don't get your hopes up, you fool. I was so happy when he came back, and then we had that little throwback. Like, he was doing the I Want to Break Free, which was kind of, remember the music he was dancing to when he stole the crown jewels and whatever series. And I was so happy. I was so very happy, and they took it away from me. And there's just one moment I'd like to discuss with you in particular. The moment where, like, I don't remember the exact lines, but the gist is, Mycroft is like, John should go, and then Sherlock is like, no, he stays, and Mycroft is like, but it's only for family, and Sherlock is like, that's why it stays. I think my happiness for like the next week alone will just be powered on that. Just all of the happiness that I will feel will just be from that one beautiful moment. So beautiful. So absolutely beautiful. Okay, so the ending. I think the ending, it was kind of like things were being wrapped up, but then in another sense, it was like stuff continues to happen. Sherlock and John are seemingly raising Rosie together. They're still solving crimes and stuff. beautiful, beautiful things are happening, and I want to be shown those beautiful things. I want more Sherlock because I'm not ready to let go of it yet. There are a few plot holes I think need to be answered, maybe, but that's not even why I want a new series. Sherlock is an amazing TV series. I think I don't know anyone who doesn't like it, and I'm not prepared to let it end yet. And I know, like, it will live on in our hearts, which logistically means that it will live on in the fan fiction and fan art and fandom that refuse to accept the ending. But I want this feeling again. I want to be able to sit down in front of the TV on a Sunday, hugging my pillow, being shouted at by my sister to stop screaming, and just generally fangirling. And I guess if this is the end of Sherlock, then I don't want that. Thank you all for watching. You've been an amazing audience. I don't know where you've been. You could have been watching this just shouting abuse at the screen. Please don't shout abuse at me. My self-esteem is like that anyway. I don't need lower. I hope you all got what you wanted out of Sherlock. There we go. That's my wish for you. That you got what you wanted out of Sherlock. Bye.
Are we still recording? Oh yeah, we are. That's jolly good.